everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I am your host, Dave.
I'm John.
And your friendly neighborhood Star Wars shill, Don.
You know what?
Okay.
I got you guys in the wrong spots because, we got to do it in order we talk. All right. How is everyone doing? How was everyone's weeks? John, you were not here last week. You were babysitting because your sister is nuts.
My sister was having a very awesome 50th birthday in Paris at the Taylor Swift concert there. And I love my sister, and I'm glad she was able to do that. But all I got for my 50th birthday was a pandemic, so I'm kind of salty.
A little bit. I can see that.
Just a little bit, yeah.
And obviously, it's hard for this group here to imagine, like, if we could do anything. Oh, Paris, Taylor Swift, like, oh.
No.
I'd take that. That would
Really?
be awesome. Are you kidding
Taylor
me?
Swift?
I've been to a Taylor
Paris.
Swift. I went to a Taylor Swift concert with my daughter, but way back in the day, and it's actually a good concert. She puts on a good show.
Maybe Foo Fighters in Paris. There you go. That was a good show. I need my Foo Fighters concert because it got cut short because of weather. So I needed a redo on that. So that's my opinion.
As long as people are having fun at a place, I can have fun too.
Can you?
Yeah.
Whoa. I've known you for a long time. Can you?
I can. Until the depression kicks in,
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a certain point where it becomes like, hey, French
swiftness.
Yeah.
All right. How about anything exciting happened to you this week that you care to report? Anything new in your life?
No, I have had a very boring week, which I absolutely freaking needed. The only interesting thing is that after the second round of steroids that was put on for my throat, and that happened like 4 weeks ago, the symptoms haven't really come back.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
What's bad is they still have no freaking idea what was wrong with me, but welcome to medicine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, very, very boring week. No cats dying, no nothing. It's just
nothing to depress us. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, nothing to depress you. Even went out and got a whole slew of new bourbons to try, and I've been working my way through them. It's pretty nice. Some good stuff.
That's why you're in a good mood.
A new Woodford Reserve top end. This is good,
There we are. There's your sign.
Yeah, well. So, Angel's Envy. That's a good whiskey bourbon too. You should, if anybody is interested. Anyway, that's it for me. How about you, Don? What's going on with you, man?
Yeah, well, this was the first week where the kids go back to school, so I have to get up 2 hours earlier, which generally sucks. Outside of that, that's pretty much. I mean, had a good Star Wars Saga Edition group. Yeah, so that's just it. I mean, I have to go to bed earlier, but outside of that, regular life of a nerd.
Well, your kids are what grades?
15, 10, and 8. So that's going to be 3rd, 5th, and sophomore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're having fun at those ages. Jeez.
Oh, absolutely fun. We went to the fair today, so it was fair week. And I live in, I don't live in Lorain County, but it was the Lorain County Fair. So I'm not going to dox myself. So that's, my wife's into it. I'm not into the animals and the Confederate flags and such. Like, it's not exactly my thing. But tip culture is getting out of control because there was a tip jar at every one of these fucking booths. And I'm like, you charge me $7 for a Diet Pepsi, $10 for a fucking corn dog. Like, no, there will be no tips today. I didn't say that, obviously, but I thought it.
Yeah.
So, Actually, just did that. I just got home from that. So yeah, that's been my week.
Tipping is really like, I mean, you order food, you go to pick it up, and they still ask for a tip. It's like, for why? I mean,
yeah, I want to bring up Kassan's comment here. Oh, there we go. So yes, Ohio is an interesting demographic because the top of Ohio is like there's like 3-4 major metropolitan areas or whatever, but then everything else is like your country Appalachia sort of. I mean, there's Columbus that's in the middle in Cincinnati, so we've got spots of heavy urban stuff, which obviously is one way politically, but the rest of the Ohio is like Kentucky. Honestly, it's very interesting. So yeah, there you have it.
Which is really fun because they basically where goes Ohio pretty much goes the election, but
yeah,
but
that's not good.
Hey, you know what?
What are you doing? We don't do that here.
I was waiting for it.
I have to do at least one of those. Yeah, I have to make you play that at least once during every episode, man.
He had to do it on himself last episode, so nice recovery.
So,
yeah.
I don't have much to report this week. It was very, very boring week for me, which was good, quiet. The girlfriend was sick the beginning of the week. She's better now. Never, Kassan. That is my favorite button in the world.
He owns it.
I do own it. But yeah, no, just the tipping is not a city in China. Oh, thank you, Thrawn. We truly, truly appreciate you.
Absolutely, Thrawn. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, we live on tips, and yet we don't like to tip. No, I love to tip. I always over tip.
Well, no, if you're making like $4 an hour, absolutely.
Yes.
I was raised by a single female that's how she made her living, so I'm all about that. But again, I just paid you $8 for like 50 cents worth of food, so you're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
And then just typical. The
Kassan, man, stop, man. That's hilarious. I mean, sarcasm meets superhero speak. Go ahead.
So yesterday she had to take her one child back up to school. He goes away to school in Millersville. So Thursday we had like a barbecue. All his friends were over to say good luck this year in school kind of thing. Like Karen and I kind of just stayed out of their way while they were on the back and doing stuff. But and it makes you feel old because it's like, oh, they don't want the old people around. And then today I saw a movie that we're going to talk about a lot. I'm sure. But that's about it. Not much else going on. I don't have an inappropriate joke of the week. I got home a little later today because I saw the movie today. Didn't have time to look around for one. But
you can try and tell one if you want me to.
I did listen to a podcast this week, and they brought something up, and I thought this was an interesting topic. And I thought maybe we could do it real quick, but if you guys aren't prepared, you can always think about it. Maybe by the end of the show, you'll have an answer. And the question of the week is, if you were to have a director's Mount Rushmore for you, what directors would you have on there?
Yeah, I'm totally prepared. So, if you wanted to let me go and give John a second or whatever, but
all right, well, you go first then.
Okay, cool. cool. So number 4 is going to be Jon Favreau. Okay, because you're saying my Mount Rushmore. Okay. So Jon Favreau is basically responsible for starting, the MCU. And to a certain contingent of Star Wars fans, he's also responsible for reviving Star Wars with The Mandalorian. So on my Mount Rushmore, Jon Favreau is going to be there all day. Number 3, And I actually only really enjoy like 3 movies that this dude made, but they're just so fucking awesome. Quentin Tarantino. I love Pulp Fiction. I love Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. And he's done other stuff that are way out there that, you know, maybe not my brand, but he literally does different genres of movies, but yet does them in a way where like people are convinced they're all in the same universe. And unlike today's directors that would talk about that, oh no, they're not in the same universe or whatever, you know, he just leaves it be. And so, you know, we'll perhaps never know. So, all right, number 2, Peter Jackson. And by the way, yeah, I looked up like the top 25, and I understand I don't really have that many. I think Quentin was on there, and I also Peter Jackson, I do believe was on there. So, what can I say? The Lord of the Rings, he did an excellent job. I know people don't or like to kind of talk shit about the Hobbit trilogy, but I still thought they were pretty good. And how were you going? Like, the Hobbit is not as good as the Lord of the Rings. It's just not. Like, 200-page children's book versus like 1,000-page, you know, between the 3 books, like, you know, over 1,000 pages. It's just, it doesn't compare. But nonetheless, I still liked both. So Peter Jackson, I know he's done other stuff, but the fact that he did Lord of the Rings as well as he did, again, he's number 2 in my Mount Rushmore. And number 1, ladies and gentlemen, no, not who you think it is, but he's worked with him before. That's going to be Mr. Jorge Lucas. That's right, George Lucas, director of many of the Star Wars. So I'm quite sure it's probably not on, you know, a lot of Mount Rushmores out there, but for me, George Lucas, the man, George Lucas. Hey, I'm going to sell Star Wars and donate the money to charity. You know, that's my dude, George Lucas.
All right. I can't argue with any of your choices. A couple of them are on my end. How about you, John? Got any thoughts on this?
Well, first, there's no way I'm not going to put Steven Spielberg on there. I mean, you just can't not have him on your list for all the reasons. Hey, yeah, Spielberg. I'm talking about him because yes, and
Spielberg was generally regarded as number 1. Absolutely,
yeah,
just not on my mind.
Another one, and I'm gonna go off road here. I'm gonna say Dean DeBlois, who basically he's the director of How to Train Your Dragon.
You love that shit, yeah.
Somebody who can make a film portray that much heart and make basically what I consider one of the most perfect films ever made, and make people cry. You know, like, the writing has to be good, but we all know that the director can make or break it.
Right.
And then after that, I'm going to put Yasuhiro Takamoto. Again, way off road for you guys. He was the director of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. He's another one that, like DeBlois, who could basically, like, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the first season, he directed that. He directed a whole bunch of stuff, but like, that is, like, I think one of his ultimate creations, and it portrays a love story so well, with just like a scene here of 2 hands just reaching for each other, or just these little things that basically become this whole of a love story and make you really feel it. And sadly, he left us early. There was a firebombing attack at the studio that he worked at. And he and 30 others of his contemporaries were all killed. So I'm really sad that that he was taken too early. After that, I mean, I would a lot of the ones that Don said. I guess I would go with Ridley Scott because Alien
and Aliens.
yeah.
Yeah. After that,
So,
who cares?
well, I mean,
Gladiator, right? Gladiator.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
that's a
yeah,
great
no,
movie.
come on, Gladiator. That is the shit.
Yep.
yeah.
I just meant for the Alien franchise. There's Alien and they're Aliens, and then that was it. They didn't make it anymore. Remember? They stopped
people
after the
are
second one.
Whatever. People are too harsh on that shit. Whatever.
Yeah. But like again, Alien defined that genre, and Aliens was like the first.
Well, that's perfection. That shit's
Aliens
awesome.
was the first sequel to ever surpass its predecessor and actually be
second. Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Fair is fair. Yeah. Absolutely. So okay, the second one, but for the horror genre, wow, what a follow up. So yeah, there you go. That's me, Dave.
I make a case for Predator 2 with that, by the way, but I digress. We can talk about that another day.
Predator 2 was okay, but
oh come on, it had boobs. Let's come on. It's not bad. It's great. I like it.
Yeah.
I thought about this a lot, and it's funny because the first one is the same as Jon Favreau. Like,
nice. I did not expect that.
If he didn't make Iron Man, we wouldn't have the MCU. He also made Elf, which I think is one of the best Christmas movies ever made.
That is a perennial Christmas movie around. We watched that shit in July.
And then throw in there The Mandalorian. Like, yeah, like he right now is such a touchstone on everything that this podcast loves that it's like he's got to be on there, Then the next one, like I've been going back and forth with because I knew Jon Favreau and I know who the top one is. So a lot of names were thrown around, and I did think of the one is Carpenter, John Carpenter. He's Big Trouble in Little China is probably
yes,
another fan favorite of this podcast. So yeah,
you know what? I feel bad, but I want to put it out there. I don't like that movie, and I know that's.
I am not above removing you from this.
I am always surprised at what some of our co-hosts like and don't like. What don't you like? If we have time, what didn't you like about that movie? Just out of curiosity.
Maybe I was too young for it at the time. I don't know. I don't get it. I really. Like the only thing I liked about it was like, oh, cool. Like, hey, there's Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Oh, there's 3 of them. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I didn't get a lot of it. And it was just kind of scary and weird. I don't know. I just put the Star Wars tape back in, I don't know.
I'll have to agree with Hassan.
Oh, here we go.
Hassan trying to start something here, huh?
Number 3. Of course, the late great Jim Henson. Not only for creating the Muppets, he also directed many of the movies, The Great Muppet Caper, which I will argue is the best of the movies that he was involved with.
But the Muppet Show.
Yes, he directed some of the episodes of the Muppet Show. The Labyrinth is another one of his, so talking about, ages, like I was a kid and these are the movies I grew up on and loved. And it was like, yeah, like he's got a big hand in my childhood. So of course he's on there. And I'm sorry.
It's not just because of your childhood. He was just a really
good director. Yeah, he was a genius. He really was. And then my number one, obviously is not obvious, but is Spielberg. I mean, come on. Like, not just he's probably the most prolific director, of our generation, and
he is. There's really no argument, to be honest with you. He should be. He's just not on my Mount Rushmore, but no, he really is the best of our lifetime.
Yeah. So I mean, some of these we agree on. It's just like a matter of personal You know,
Right,
like
exactly.
like your feels from when you were young and something like Thronkill just mentioned Mel Brooks. My God, like
Yeah,
he'd
He'd be
all
like
these
number
guys,
5 on my Mount Rushmore, you know, like
yeah.
absolutely.
But Mel Brooks again, like top of his field. Like there's nobody
Yes.
who could have directed, Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs or Men in Tights or all these other brilliant shows. You know.
Yeah. So it's tough, but yeah, they're my picks. You know, you guys can let us know. If you're watching now, you can comment, and if you're watching later, let us know in the comments down below. Who are the 4 directors on your Mount Rushmore? So, and then the other thing I wanted to do real quick, we have to give a special shout out to someone this week. I got a long, heartfelt message from Tim Jones saying, "You can't get rid of social media madness. It's my favorite part of the show."
Yes, we can. It's dead, and it's better that way.
And he's like, not just because I get mentioned almost every time. He's like, I love hearing your comments on what stupid people on the internet say. So, sorry, but I will say, in honor of stupid people on the internet, make sure you go check out Sour Grapes, available on fire newspapers across the nation, by our good friend Tim Jones. So
we will always mention you, Tim. Like, there's no way not to.
I'm gonna voice Aesop, so I'm gonna you get your yeah. No, which I'm appreciative of. If someone who would like to voice act,
yes.
And if you need a voice actor, please contact me.
If you do need a voice actor, please contact Don. I can't. You don't want me, but you definitely want Don.
Okay, you said you uploaded the clip. I don't see it. So, did it work?
Can I do it then?
Yes, I'm going to say. So, but if you would like to know more about the Geek World Allstars, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
No, it's not there for me either. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I'm uploading.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll just play the old one for now, and then next week we'll have it. Here we go.
Hey, great show tonight, right? But I bet you also want to be part of social media madness, and you can. You just head on over to superheroespeak.com, where we have all of our social media links. And while you're there, you can check out links to the show, comic reviews by Chris, other stuff that we're adding on there all the time. So again, check out superheroespeak.com. And while you're already on the interwebs, check out the rest of the Geek World Allstars podcast network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain podcast, That's So Wizard, and Superhero Speak. So on your social media app, just go ahead and type in hashtag GW Allstars, and you will not be disappointed. Now, I'm sure the present me has refilled his alcoholic beverage and wiped the sweat from under his man tits, so we can get back to the show. Yes, too large. The other one, the new one's too large.
Okay,
so,
if you send it to me, I can edit it down.
Or we could just recompress it at a different frame rate or something.
You got to make it like a little less good looking.
Don't you just love getting little glimpses into the background of how to make a podcast?
Oh yeah, and to the
Kasanji's.
To this.
Yeah.
And to the scammer who's messaging us, I'm not going to bring your comment up, but hey, if you would like to be continuing this conversation, join our Discord. Link is in the description below. And yes. Also, while you're here, if you haven't done so yet, and you're liking what you're seeing, why don't you hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications so we don't miss us when we go live. Smash debate to that like button. I mean, smash that like button. It helps with the algorithm, helps get our name out there. And if you feel up to it, you don't have to, but we would really appreciate it if you would consider buying a Superhero Speak t-shirt. Link to the store is in the description below. And there's some great t-shirts options out there. I'm sure you'll be happy with them. And Don, do you want to shout out Omega Level Nerds while you're here?
No, not really. We haven't done anything. But still, go check our shit out if you want to, go and see people defend the Acolyte. Our last video is Wolverine and Deadpool, but we've had some tech issues and time issues and shit. But hey, check it out. There's we go deep. We don't have a T'Challa button, so check us out.
If you stick around after this commercial break, you'll see someone defend the Acolyte a little bit more. But Don mentioned the Geek World Allstars in the little promo. Make sure you check out So Wizard this week. It is their 10th anniversary. And speaking of So Wizard, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with more.
This is So Wizard anime.
Broadcasting very fast and very dangerous from the planet Malistan. You are listening to So Wizard.
You're thinking people gonna die?
The only podcast to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs.
No one to stop us this time.
I am your host, Joey DiCarlo, and with me, my co-hosts, the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield, and the expert, Mr. Marquis, Marcellus Reagan. You are listening to So Wizard Podcast, where three friends review movies, TV, and sometimes more, podcasting weekly on the Geek World Allstars Podcast Network. Marcellus Reagan's, please tell the listeners where they can find more So Wizard Podcasts.
Everybody, you can head on over to SoWizardPodcast.com, and there you're going to find a brand new episode every week. Find So Wizard on all podcasting streaming platforms, such as iTunes, Spotify, GoodPods, and pretty much wherever you can find a podcast. Check out our YouTube page, where new content is being uploaded regularly. We also have a Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month, you can receive exclusive bonus content while you're supporting the show.
No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, you have to do a Google Calendar, and then you build a following. It takes a long time, and I've been working on it for a while.
And it'll be a good 10-year anniversary episode. Their former co-host, who basically left in a fit of rage and hates them all, is coming back to do.
That's awesome.
If anyone knows any of the behind-the-scenes podcast drama with those guys, it's kind of funny that he's coming back for this episode. Like, they've all made nice, but it's funny.
Would you mind if I took a second to plug one thing?
Go.
One thing. Okay. Remember I talked about Death Battle and their Kickstarter?
Yes.
Yeah. They're up to $689,991. And all they need, they've got 4 days to go left. All they need is $10,000 more, and we get 2 more episodes of Death Battle. So if everybody would go to Kickstarter, look up Save Death Battle, and 4 days left. There's still some nice stuff that you'll get, and because they hit all of the tiers, you get a lot of bonus stuff now if you donate just a little bit. So just saying, I'm excited because I've got a tier where I can actually pitch them an actual death battle that they can actually make.
Good. Look at John. He's the Sally Struthers of Rooster Teeth. All right, man.
Well, I couldn't get them to kill me on screen, so I figured might as well tell them who else to kill.
part of John's super secret origin. If you haven't been with the podcast from the beginning, one of his favorite death battles involves Rainbow Dash, and that's how she kind of became his favorite My Little Pony.
That's how I got into My Little Pony Generation 4. And it was Rainbow Dash versus Starscream.
Yes.
I reviewed that comic, and that actually, or not, I don't know if that's a specific comic, but the whole My Little Pony and Transformers. And the way they fucking power scaled the My Little Ponies was fucking crazy. Like they made him like fucking completely destructive.
Well, I mean,
was really fucking funny.
It's kind of honest. If you look at it, like, you know, Pinkie Pie basically is Toon Force. I mean, what do you do with that? You know. But anyway, yeah. So Death Battle, like $10,000 more, and you know, you. I mean, again, they met all their tiers. So all of the extra rewards that you get for those tiers, you get them if you donate now. So like, there's no reason not to if you can. That's
Speaking of Kickstarters, Kassan mentions, I hear there's a Kickstarter to save the Acolyte, but only managed $54. I
bet you there's a Kickstarter to kill the Acolyte. It's made a lot more money.
That's a nice segue into our only news article this week. Sorry, Don. I'm sorry. I know you were crying when you saw this, but it's official.
Not at all, actually.
The Acolyte's been canceled. There will be no season 2 whatsoever. How do we feel about this news?
You heard?
Are we surprised?
Not only did they kill it, that you can't find any of the merch anymore. They took that off the site too. Like when you go to the site to buy merch for one of the Star Wars properties, all the other properties are still listed there. Even like everything except the Christmas special is listed there, with the exception of Acolyte 2. Like, it's kind of weird.
Did you
hold it?
What did you think, John? We'll start with John. What did you think of the news, and were you surprised at all?
I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that they took the merch down. But I am ready for both of our favorite stuff. Don's favorite beyond everything is Star Wars. My favorite beyond everything else is Star Trek. And both of our properties are really suffering right now. And I would like to see them give it to a good director, somebody who loves the property, loves the story, grew up with it like Don did, or like I did with Star Trek, and give those properties the love they deserve. You're getting a little bit more of that with Star Trek, like with Prodigy's doing well, really well, and Lower Decks is great. But Star Wars, man, they need to show it more love. They got to give it to somebody who wants to tell a good story, you know?
I don't know if I necessarily agree it's that bad, because again, The Mandalorian is awesome. So it's like,
well, and Andor kicks ass. So, and Mandalorian was good too. I mean, there were good parts of that. There were good parts of was it Kenobi,
Yeah.
So, there's still some good stories to be told in there. They just have to find somebody who cares about it enough to do it without deciding, oh, I'm gonna change this entire part of the lore because I want it to be memorable. I want to put that mark on it myself. You don't want somebody who wants to put their mark on it. You want somebody who wants to tell a good story to give the fans what they deserve. Fans like Don. Damn it.
Yeah.
What about you, Don? What did you think?
Here's what I thought. I went through a little bit of a wave of emotions at first with, okay, there are these loose ends. So the whole Venestra Quimir thing, like, okay, what the fuck's up with that? Yoda being involved, like we're never even gonna know exactly what Venestra told Yoda. And they set up these two major characters that were a result of a Virgins of the Force. And again, now we're not going to know what happened. Then after kind of dealing with that, because I always thought of this as a one-shot, and I was actually surprised that there were threads that were left open.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to hear that there was not going to be a season 2, but as much as I liked this show, because I'm the type of Star Wars fan, and I realize this, I like the universe and the lore to be expanded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not in it for any particular thing other than, hey, what what else can I experience of this universe?
Right.
And for me, the Acolyte went into some things. Plagueis being a very hot topic in Star Wars and something that people want explored tremendously. But looking at the data, or at least the data that's been presented out there, because I'm not going to vie for its accuracy, but it does seem a little bit accuracy as we have the cancellation. But obviously, even though when the first episode, they were breaking streaming records, there was a steep drop-off. Okay? That is the data that is presented. And with that, right, what other decision are they going to make? They're not going to do a season 2. With all that said, you got Boba Fett back in the Mandalorian show. You know, Ahsoka back in the Mandalorian show. You know, Grand Admiral Thrawn in Mandalorian / Ahsoka. My point is, this doesn't, just because they're not going to have an Acolyte season 2 does not mean they're going to not have another movie or another show that features any of these characters, or hopefully Plagueis. Hopefully there's a whole thing to learn about Plagueis. And okay, it's not the Acolyte. No problem.
They have to do Plagueis justice, though. Like, he's a huge part of the history. They need somebody who's going to pay that history, you know, the credit it deserves. It's just whatever they do with him, it's got to be epic.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And you're right on one major point there, Don, is that we're never going to know what she said to Yoda. But part of me is relieved that we're never going to know.
Well, it leaves it open for somebody else to come in and make it right.
Because they could easily have turned that into Yoda knew and hid it all these years, and now you're turning Yoda into a bad guy, and it's like, nah, let's not do that.
Actually, if you want to see what she said and what Yoda said back to her, look at the link that I posted.
Oh, yes.
I love that idea, Thrawn.
The Diesel for Plagueis?
Oh my God.
They just need to extend between his mouth and his nose a little bit, and it'll be perfect. They'll save money.
So, yeah, I think you're right. They will pick up these story threads somewhere else, maybe in a new property. They'll get someone new to write it and direct it and all that jazz. And we might see one or two of the characters return, but it's not going to be an Acolyte season 2. It'll be the early days of Yoda or something like that. Though he's still an old man in this, so I don't know. It's only 100 years.
Yeah.
All right. Guess what? That's it. That's the news. Now we got a movie to talk about, guys. We all went to the movies this week. We all saw The Crow, the 2024 version. I hope you guys didn't rent the original. Like,
I don't have to rent it. It lives up here.
So before we get into anything, let's, as we always do, let's talk numbers. Over on Box Office Mojo, as of this recording, it has made $4.6 million domestically.
Oh my God.
That is it. 4.6 million people. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critics score of 20%.
How is that? How is it that high?
And an audience score of 65%. As of the time of this recording.
That is member berries only, man. How you know what? Here's an idea. How many reviews does it have?
That's a good question. 85 reviews from the critics, and then it just says 250 plus on the audience score.
Only 250 plus?
Yeah, but I mean, I think when it gets to a certain number, it just puts the plus on there. So, I don't know.
I'm willing to bet that it has very, very few reviews compared to other
I'm sure.
movies.
If it only made $4.6 million, there can't be that many people that went on a Rotten Tomatoes and viewed it and reviewed it as a viewer.
Right.
And then finally, we do have our patent pending superhero speak poll over on X. And of course, we asked, what did you think of The Crow? We gave 4 options. It was great. It was okay. It was meh. It was horrible. Coming in last place at 15%. So some people picked it was great. Coming in.
Are any of you in the chat? I have to talk to you.
I know.
Coming in, it's 20%. The second choice was it was okay. 25%.
My wife's vote.
25% said it was meh, and then 40%. So obviously, the overwhelming percentage said just horrible, just horrible. So no one likes this movie. I'm sorry. All right, let's now go around the room and let's give our initial reaction to the film. No spoilers yet. No spoilers yet, folks. What did you think of this movie? And Don, you can go first.
No.
Okay, I'll go next.
This movie is Crow in name only. And it stars fuckboy Jared Leto Joker wannabe. There you go. That's it. I at least got laid because my wife saw, Bill Skarsgård's butt. So hey.
Twice in the movie, by the way. Oh, sorry. That's a spoiler. John?
What did I do to you that was so heinous?
Both of you messaged me about this movie, by the way. Both of you did. Before I saw it, both of you messaged me about basically how bad this movie was. Go ahead, John.
Not only, like, okay, a friend of mine called me up. He went to go see the movie today with his son. They walked out after a half an hour. Me, I couldn't walk out because I have to see the whole thing in order to be able to review it for you guys here. So you all, our watchers, can get Schadenfreude off while you watch us suffer. But while I'm in the theater, first off, I saw how many pre-tickets they had sold. And
how many were in the theater with you?
4. But there had been like 12 seats that had been sold, and only 5 of us showed up. Not only that, the theater I go to is nice. They have the lounging, the lounging chairs, big leather chairs with the button you can lie back. Normally, I've never had a problem with there before. This time around, I swear I was sitting next to a seat that somebody had peed in because it smelled like it. And I thought to myself halfway through the movie, I can't stand this anymore. But that's apropos for the movie I'm watching. So, yeah.
4D smell-o-vision, Futurama smell-o-vision.
Exactly. It smelled like somebody took a dump. And I'm like, wow, they really went all out for this.
Yeah.
I got home and I had to take a shower.
No, really. It's like, this is so bad. It's like a joke. It's like a joke. They're like, yeah, so we're going to put shit under their, chairs while they watch this just to drive it fucking home.
My neighbor, who normally goes with me to see movies now, I called him up. I said, let's go to a movie. He said, all right, what are we going to see? I'm like, oh, well, I got to review The Crow. He said, I got to do laundry for my kids. It's their first day of school. I'm thinking to myself when I'm on my way back, boy, I still smell like that seat. And also, he dodged a bullet. So I mean, like Don, it's like, no.
But before we go into spoilers, I guess I do want to add that my wife,
go ahead.
my wife, who's only seen The Crow once, we watched it together about 6 months ago, and I'm like, you've got to watch this movie. It's fucking cool. She liked the movie. So just so you know.
Okay.
She liked it.
Let me tell you. So my girlfriend had to take her son to school yesterday, right? And I did say it to her, I got to see a movie for the podcast. And she's like, which one? I said, The Crow. I said, do you want to go with me? And she's like, sure. Because we haven't been to the movies together in quite some time. The last few Marvel movies she didn't want to go to because she's so far behind that I ended up going by myself. So this was the first time that we could go to a movie together in a while. And about 20 minutes in the movie, I turned to her and I said, we can leave if you want. And she's like, no, you have to watch this for the podcast.
She was right. Because if you came in here and were like, you know what, I bailed after 20 minutes, I'd be like, you motherfucker. How dare you not take the same punishment we took? Oh, I got you in spades, brother. Let's see.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a second.
Yep. I got a lot to say about that shit. Yep.
I'm going to say that. Walking out of this movie, I have been so conflicted to say, do I not like this movie because I love the original so much? Or do I not like this movie because it's a bad movie? And to be honest with you, it's a bad movie. It really is. There's a lot of problems in this movie. It has nothing to do with comparing it to the original.
Right. I knew that because, Rotten Tomatoes and all before I saw the movie, it already had bad press. So I actually wanted to shit in everyone's cereal and come in here and be like, oh no, this is fine. This is good. I really was like, okay, all right. I'm cool with the fuckboy version of Crow. Okay. Whatever. I'm here for it. Right. But fucking still, man.
And it's funny, it's a bad movie to begin with, and then when you start comparing it to the original, where the original shines, this one blows. And
I will punch this motherfucking director in the face if I ever meet him.
And I feel like they made choices on purpose to be like, we're nothing like the original.
The original comic guy was a consultant on this shit.
James O'Barr was a consultant, yes.
And they just said, fuck you.
They must have, because this.
I really love the original Crow. Just everyone know that.
The original Crow was more. What was it? It was. Sorry, aphasia. The original was more to the original storyline than this one was. This one,
not
they
exact,
took, quote unquote,
it was
liberties.
Oh, liberties. Okay.
And by the way, Thronkill said
shit.
Thronkill asked what the collectible popcorn bucket looks like. I said it looks like a Darwin Award, because that's what everybody should get. That's us. And they're stored right next to the Borderlands merch that didn't sold at all, apparently.
Oh, that's another movie that didn't do well. But
you know what? I shot a whole episode about that with J100 that's on my podcast because he's super into Borderlands and it got fucked up. But yeah, that movie sucks.
Yeah, I think one of the things I heard is that it sat on a shelf, I think, for 4 years, they said. So, it was supposed to come out, I think, during the pandemic, and then they were afraid to release it. But
but all the characters were 20-somethings, and they picked people who were in their 60s.
Well, that is true, too. That is one of the big problems with it. All right. I think we can't talk much more about this movie without spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the movie and you've gotten this far in the podcast and you don't want to be spoiled, well, thank you for watching up to this point, but this is where you can bail. If you don't care about spoilers, you've already seen the movie, here we go.
We're not. Let's face it. We're not spoiling it. Nobody else is going to see this. Not after we. I mean, look at our faces. Look at our faces. You don't want to see this movie.
I did want to say that too. I had there was only 2 other couples in the theater with us when we went as well. Like,
yeah, there's only
empty.
6 other motherfuckers in there with us as well. Like, holy shit! Like everyone went to go see Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
I
think that's. I mean, let's be honest. I think that's another thing. Like, there's a couple other really good movies you could go see instead. At this point, that's out right now. So,
I heard Alien Romulus. The end got messed up by the studio too. So
let me start by saying this movie starts off listing a bunch of producers. Like, this movie's got like 30 this movie has 30 producers. Shit. Basically meaning there were a bunch of suits that gave their opinion on what this movie should be. And you can tell that this is a movie by corporate decisions, not a movie that was like a vision by somebody. This was, we have this property about a guy who dies and comes back from the dead to avenge his girlfriend and his death so that his soul can rest. And it's a beloved comic. It is a cult classic movie. It was Brandon Lee's last performance. Let's shit on it. So one of my biggest gripes about this movie, and I actually turned to Karen halfway through the movie and said this to her. It tries to be artsy, but corporate artsy, and it even fails at that level. There are scenes like the opening scene of young Eric Draven finding his horse trapped in barbed wire and him pulling the barbed wire off the horse to save the horse. And apparently like his mother's in a trailer dying. And it's like there's no words. It's all imagery and beautiful art. And it makes no sense. It has no other real bearing in the rest of the movie. Someone had this thought in their head and said, let's do this. And it's artsy and it's cool. And it's, I mean, am I wrong? Like, what did you think?
No, it makes no fucking sense. Nothing. How do you have a horse but you live in a fucking trailer?
He's true. Horses are freaking expensive. There's no way if you live in a trailer that you can have one.
I'm sorry if I'm being loud, but holy fuck, from the get-go, this movie didn't make sense. All right, that's what we're in for tonight. I love the fucking original Crow.
A horse costs at least $800 a month in feed,
to take care
and care, and all that to take care of them.
Yeah,
there's no way you're owning one if you're a trailer park person.
No, and like, was his mother dying of drugs or something in that scene? Like, what is going on in that scene? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what is this that we're watching? And we don't ever revisit and explain it.
No, from what I gather, and he does revisit it for a second. From what I gather, basically his parents were like druggies, and he was pissed off that they were like fucking high while his horse is fucking dying. And then he ends up, and again, this isn't revealed till later in the movie, this part, he ends up burning the trailer down.
I guess.
They get so fucking complicated in this movie, but don't explain shit.
Well, no, some things they didn't explain at all. Other things they over-explain. But the problem being that the things that they didn't explain, they were, like to your point, they were too artsy, like, and then, too cute by far, that you can't get what they're getting at.
Right, because now we flash forward and we're following Shelley, and like, what's going on with her? Like, she's being chased because she has a video, but you have no idea what's in the video and why they're chasing her and who's chasing her and what's going on, other than she's scared of them. And then she gets arrested and gets sent to a rehab place where she meets Eric and they fall in love. But it's like, is it a jail? Is it a rehab center? Why are they all wearing pink? Why
Me
are
and my wife
in...
were like, what the fuck is going on if they're in prison? There's no unfortunately, I personally know, not that I went to prison, but my father, uncles. But anyway, personally, I fucking know there's no way that two people of the opposite sex are going to get anywhere near each other in prison.
Yep.
So, but it was literally like an hour into the movie before I fucking, that's just some sort of like court-ordered rehab that, by the way, they're allowed to escape with no fucking police chasing them or no bench warrants or shit like that.
Did it not feel like prison? Right, and no one chased.
Right, no, yes.
And no one, they weren't searching for them. Like, only the bad guys were searching for them. The cops were never searching for them.
So here's the fucking problem already. Like, they're getting all this fucking minutia about how these two motherfuckers met, and it doesn't make sense.
Wow.
Where in the original movie, it's just like, here are these two sympathetic people. Then they get fucking killed. But no, in this movie, they get super complicated with it for no reason. And it still doesn't make sense.
And then here, okay, wait, hold on. They escape the facility and they're on the run, but then the next day they're at a swimming hole with a bunch of characters they never talk about again.
Oh my God, right.
With, like, what the hell is this? And then that's it. You never see any of those characters again that they're out swimming with. It's just to show a montage of them falling in love or whatever. And it's just like,
right. They're trying to sell this love story, and it's just like two fucking crackheads falling in love. Who cares? You know, they go to fucking raves and shit and do X. Oh my God. They do like all the worst things you should ever do if you think somebody's a supernatural being, which we'll get into that, is trying to kill you.
Go ahead, John.
Let me list my biggest problems with this. Number one.
Do we have time?
Yeah. Number one.
It's going to be over an hour. I'm sorry.
I know.
I know.
Number one, halfway through the movie, I looked at my phone for the time, and I'm like, when are they going to start crowing here? Like, when does
I was going to say, wait, hold on. I was going to say the same exact thing. I have never looked at my watch in a movie before and said, when are they going to kill the main characters?
Yeah. So that
I was
like,
rooting
please
for them to be
kill
killed.
the main characters.
Kill them already,
Please
so
kill
that we
them.
can get on with this movie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's Darth Sidious.
The second thing is, in the original Crow, and this goes to, what was it? What Kassan said. The original, well, I mean, even in the comic, the original Crow, Eric Draven, which they did not use his last name here because they're trying to distance themselves from the original, which I am more than happy that they would distance themselves as far as possible. But
they did say Shelley Webster.
Yes, they did.
They did say Webster in the movie, and it's Shelley, so you know it's Draven. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they didn't on purpose. That was a purposeful thing that they did. It didn't wind up on the cutting room floor. But so in the original, he was a caring person. He was emo, right? Because the original movie basically launched that grunge emo type thing, that whole genre. But in this one, he's as dumb as a bag of rocks. Like, and okay, yes, they fall in love. They fall in love while they're in rehab, and they're only in there for like 2 or 3 days, and then they go have a drug binge, which obviously puts them so in love that heaven recognizes it and says, "You two are in love. You must care about her so much that we're going to send you back for vengeance." What the hell is going on? Then there's stuff like, okay, I mean,
you're right. Wait, hold on. Okay.
One more thing. We're in spoiler territory. So the whole movie, well, not the whole movie, only like 30 minutes of the movie, Eric Draven's actually killing, the bad guys. He does what he does, and then they send her back only to have her revive maybe a few minutes after she actually died. So what? The whole thing is a dream? Because he's still dead right next to her. None of that other stuff could have possibly happened. They obviously didn't revive her 3 days after she died. I don't know what's going on. And then at the tattoo place, they shoot him, and he falls into a tub that's full of water. Why is there a full tub full of water?
Why was there water?
For him to artfully fall into and bleed into after they shoot him. What was the tattoo artist doing with the pool? Like, this whole thing felt like Hot Shot. I'm looking at going, this is Hot Shots Part 2. I mean, like, just it was a few jokes away from Hot Shots Part 2. They could have made this a parody with only a few little changes.
Look, hold on.
Okay, I'm done. Go ahead.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about the tub already being full of water, but you were 100% right. They were hanging out, and all of a sudden there was a tub full of water. It made no sense whatsoever.
So for him to artfully fall into and supposedly die while the blood from the hole covers over his face. All I could think of is the entire movie, the entire time they were writing it, and the entire time they were shooting this movie, there was somebody from the studio on the side going, "No, make it darker. No, make it grungier. No, darker." It's like, huh?
Okay, hold on. That's another thing. Like, they could have spent 5 minutes of them in that apartment falling in love. You know,
Like they did in the first one,
right? With the drape over her and all that artsy stuff and that's it. Like, you didn't need the next day at the thing. But here's the other thing, right? Like, okay, you take recreational drugs, whatever. I'm not going to judge you on that.
Ecstasy is more than a recreational.
But I was going to say, they're sitting around smoking pot and whatever. Fine. Then all of a sudden,
and popping
she gets her
pills.
good stash from behind the wall, and they start doing heavier drugs. And it's like, now you've lost me, because they're supposed to be good people that are wrongfully killed, and it's about avenging their deaths. You're now showing they're not good people. And I have
in the first movie, Eric Draven finds what's her face's mother. They're overdosing. He squeezes the poison out, and he squeezes the poison out and says, "Be a better mother." In this one, I would more expect him to actually sit down and take a
and
hit
have
off
drugs
of
with her.
the syringe himself. Like,
yes.
I wouldn't trust this guy with anything.
Like, oh shit, I don't want to kill you guys. Shit, let's party. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like, that's a big problem. Like, in the original story and in the original movie, they're killed because they're fighting to save the tenement that they live in, the condemned building they live in, because there's other people that live there. And Shelley is part of a movement that's fighting to save the building. She's a good person. So she's wrongfully killed, and his soul comes back to avenge the death of a good person. Like, but in this movie, the devil whispers in her ear and she kills somebody.
Yeah, what are even the rules when heaven's like,
and
well,
then she's
the
upset
devil
that
made
there's
him
a
do
video
it, so-
out there.
Yeah.
She was complicit in that.
No. Hold on. This is the biggest plot hole in the entire movie. And I'm going to say this, and this is why the movie doesn't work, period. They're chasing her down to kill her because she has this video of him whispering in her ear, and then the devil, the villain that's in 4 scenes in the movie, and he's not even a good villain. Sorry. The actor, I can't think of his name, who plays him, is one of the like creepiest guys.
William Stryker from X-Men Origins.
Right, and he's played some good villains, but like, he's in 4 scenes and it doesn't work. Like, you're not afraid of this guy, you know, by the end. Which
If you just have earphones on, head canceling earphones, you're good. You don't have to.
So he whispers in her ear, she kills somebody, and they have a video of it, and he doesn't want to get out because you don't even know what's in the video when he says this line. Oh, if it gets out, it'll ruin me. You know, it'll all be over. Blah 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 blah. It's 2024. They would have just fucking posted it on the internet and been done with it.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it doesn't work. 2024 people, if you want to sit there and have cell phones and videos and sharing and all that crap and then say it is the modern world, they would have just posted it on the internet and it would have been done. It would have been over.
It was like they updated it from a script that was written in the 1990s, where they would have it on a small camcorder or tape cassette or something. You know, oh, I'll stash it behind. It's like you said, they took the phone and they stashed it with the rest of her drugs. It's like it's a phone. It's connected to the internet for upload is somewhere.
Cloud.
What the hell?
Right.
Yeah, like, come on. Are you that dumb about technology? Everyone else knows. Heck, if she's got an iPhone or even a Android, like, it's already saved to the cloud once it got texted to her and she saves it to her phone. It's in the cloud already. Like, come on, people. This was a stupid premise for a movie. It doesn't work.
And again, like the rules. Okay, so he forces her. Look, when you disable the ego and superego and let the id run wild, like if he does that, she's destined for hell then because she acted on her id, even though like it was perpetrated by like a demon. Like, what are the rules here?
Okay,
like
this is the thing that
even Constantine doesn't allow that shit. Come on.
That's one of the other things that's really bothering me about this movie is I feel like they're trying to take Christian or Catholic ideas and incorporate it into a story. And for lack of a better term, that afterworld we see in this movie is purgatory. It's the waiting room for heaven, right? Like, you're not quite done yet, so you're not ready to go up to your reward, but you're not bad to go to hell, so you're in limbo or purgatory. And like, but what are the rules, right? Like, because the other thing is, they say the main villain, and I can't think of the character's name. I probably should bring it up. Is
this show isn't worth us even looking at IMDb to figure out the names. I mean,
that he made a deal, right? They sit there and say he made a deal, but they never say with the devil. But obviously he made a deal with the devil for eternal life, right? So, why are you avoiding? Like, why on one hand are you having Christian ideas in your movie, but completely avoiding saying the devil, heaven, or hell?
He's already
Just
immortal.
Why
is he interested in the crow? Why is he saying bring him to me? He has the secret of immortality. You already have immortality.
It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Why does he have any inkling as to what the fucking crow is?
Right. Did he get it? Did he get a rule book when he got his immortality?
Oh, he's got the secret. He doesn't die. Oh, he had it all fucking figured out somehow. Like that's my okay. There's a lot of problems, and I'm going to get to them, gentlemen. I've tried to let you talk, but I'm sorry.
No.
Go now.
Feel free.
Oh, fuck this movie. Like, okay, here's the first big thing. Okay, he died. Okay, he's died. He's in purgatory. All the train tracks, right? Like I said, crow in name only. Yes, they quote the whole like go when somebody dies and blah blah blah. They have to write the wrong things. They put trench coats in this fucking movie for no reason. Which, believe me, I love trench coats, as you would have seen with our new promo. But anyway, next week. But so he goes into purgatory, and there's this fucking dude with a trench coat. And what does he fucking say? Oh, if you kill all the people that killed you and Shelley, we'll bring her back. What?
Since when was that on the table?
The cool fucking thing about the crow is that your motherfuckers are dead and you're good people. But hey, guess what? You get to go kill the motherfuckers that did this shit, and then you will be reunited with Shelley in heaven. But in this fucking movie, he said, oh no, she'll come back to life. Like she's fucking Jean Grey or some bullshit.
Hold on. I will address this comment from Kassan here. He said the villain had to keep killing people to keep his immortality. I figured that by killing the crow, he wouldn't have to keep killing people. He'd be free of the agreement.
But that's the problem. You figured you had to. You had your. They didn't tell any of this.
First off,
they didn't show any of it.
Even worse. Fast forward to the last fucking fight of the fucking movie. He gets the crow power. His blood becomes black like the crow's, but then he fucking gets drowned.
Hold on, I'm going to get to drowning. I'm going to get to drowning in a second.
You could throw somebody through a mirror and go into the afterlife somehow. Like somehow.
Hold on.
How did that happen?
Hold on.
Sorry, man. I'm with Don. This is just garbage.
Kassan, you missed the point. This is where I was like, oh, it's Catholic ideas. So the little blonde girl, the little Asian girl who was friends with Shelley and gets caught by them, and they're trying to use her to find the video and all that stuff, which again, it's fucking stupid. You put it down on the internet and it's a done story. But anyway, he says you're a good person, right? So here's the deal. And this is my Catholic brain looking at this and going, oh, okay. He can't kill her because she's a good person. If he kills her, she goes to heaven. If she kills herself, which is, frowned upon, she goes right down to the dark place.
Yeah, it's a cardinal
So
sin, but he forced her to kill herself. That doesn't what kind of loophole
I
is
get
that?
it. I get it. It's a loophole. It's a stupid loophole, but that's the point. He needs to send souls down, not just kill people. He needs to send them down. So he needed her to kill herself. It's not just killing people. And he's got some weird obsession about wanting to hear young girls playing music. But here's the other thing. And this is a weird thing that they added to this movie. Wasn't done in any
fucking villain. Fuck.
It wasn't done in the original or
Again,
any of the other Crow movies. Is he comes back from the dead for the sake of vengeance, and he can't be killed unless he jumps in water, and then he can just drown and die. No.
Well, okay, we're missing something else. So halfway through him finally crowing, so like 3/4 into the movie, okay, so he sees the video of the guy whispering into what's her face's ear, Shelley's ear, and then she goes and stabs a friend. Okay, so he loses his faith completely. You just lost the whole point of the story, the love that they had between them, and now he's made a deal.
You can't be truly in love with someone after 3 days anyway. Like, that's the other thing
I know,
about me about
right?
this movie.
Like,
it's not like they had a.
So it makes another deal.
The brilliance of the original movie is they're engaged and
they're already fiancé. Yeah,
they're already fiancé. You don't know their relationship, their past, and you don't need to know. You just know that they're a young couple in love
right then.
Right.
Yeah. Spend 3 fucking seconds on it, and you get it. Done.
Right.
You get it. But here's the other fucking cardinal sin of this movie. His power in this movie, as you just said, is tied to his love for Shelley instead of the fucking crow. What the fuck? Like, so he has to make a deal to exchange his soul for Shelley's.
Yep.
In order to become I'm sitting there waiting, guys. I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to come in and piss everybody off by liking this movie. I can't fucking do it. Like, he's like the weak bitch crow at first until he makes it. Like, he didn't start fucking crowing in like vengeance and shit until after he makes this deal for his soul to be damned, while Shelley's soul, well, obviously she's a person.
Gets to go. Her soul gets to go back in time.
The angel
and wake her up.
The angel that he sees in, or whatever that character is in the afterlife, why doesn't he power him up the first time he goes through? Why is it got to be like, not till he dies again?
Thrawn Kill is right, because I remember The Wraith with Charlie Sheen. Very old movie for you young ones, but yes, yeah, it was a horrible movie, and yet still better love story than this.
Look. Here's the thing.
Don is done.
No, I'm not. I just had to get more alcohol.
Hold on. Let me just mention one more thing, Dave.
I'll mention one more thing. 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. The first minute of Up tells a better love story than this fucking movie tells.
Oh, the first 5 minutes of Up is heartbreaking, and it makes you question your mortality. But beyond that,
but it tells a true love story.
It does.
What was this? This was two people on a drug binge who escaped prison together. That's not real love.
Yeah, and they took 45 minutes to do it.
Yes.
So in the first movie, the crow, the actual crow that's with him when he comes back to life, like
fuck, I'm dead. Yeah,
he acknowledges it. Sometimes he talks to it. It means something that the bad guy
energizes with it though to see what it sees.
The bad guy catches it because it's the source of his power on Earth. This one, they just CGI'd a crow, and in certain scenes, it had nothing to do with anything. Nothing. Nobody even acknowledged that it existed.
Right.
They could have taken it out. It would never have made a difference.
He uses the crow to see things in the first movie. They don't do that in this. And here's the other thing.
Didn't even get him on the shoulder. I'm like, what are you going to go on the shoulder?
How does he even know he's the crow?
Okay. Here's the other thing. The original point of the story. The original point of this story, flat out, James O'Barr wrote this story to deal with grieving losing his
that's right,
his girlfriend in a car accident.
God, horrible way.
The point of the story is about pain and dealing with the pain of loss. And it's told in the original movie with that's one of his powers is that he can hold on to this pain, but then he lets it go and he puts it into the bad guy's brain and it like
he could make
freaks him out at the end. And that's how he beats him at the end.
Stare, right?
Yes. And that's how he beats him at the end of the movie.
Even after he's depowered, because the crow's fucked up already, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So that's why he can even fight with the bad guy that's human and not a fucking devil's. Anyway, holy fuck. Yeah. Oh,
I remember
God.
in the original movie, they had the cop and the little girl, and they helped to humanize him.
That's the only reason he survives the fight, right? Yeah. He's got the spread cop, motherfucker. Oh.
Yeah.
They're his connection to humanity. He has no connection to humanity in this movie. You do not care about any of the ancillary characters. You don't care about the villain. You don't care about any of the villain's henchmen. Like, they do nothing to make you feel.
They make fun of it, Dave. They make fun of it. They're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Like, it'd be an antsy teenager with a shrine to the hero." Like that happened in the first movie, but they're like, they fucking chide it here. Like, oh.
And we haven't even talked about the cinematography. There are scenes that just like the music goes to a crescendo, and then it just goes and ends to another scene that is completely silent for no reason, and like and completely kills the mood from the first. Or they end a scene halfway through where it should have been. It's like,
is there anything memorable about the soundtrack in this movie?
No, it was standard.
So let me bring this up. Oh, because I won't bring the chat up, but Kassan did ask, okay, what did my wife like about the movie? So I'll answer this now since you mentioned the music. She did like the music. Now I hard disagree with her. Because I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like Stone Temple Pilots and all that good shit.
Was she looking at his chest when she said?
Well, and that's so. Kassan asked, like, what did your wife like about this movie? Turns out, women like fuckboys. Like my wife said, like, oh yeah, he's a fuckboy all day long. But you know, skinny, muscular, tattoos, like.
Well, I mean, FKA Twigs on the other side isn't so bad either.
But you know, and for her only seeing The Crow once, she was like, she felt it. Stuck with the premise, but we had a 45-minute discussion on why exactly she was wrong.
See, this movie kills relationships too, man. Yeah. Stay away from it.
Well, I did get laid though. She was about the Skarsgard bod.
That is not guaranteed with this movie. If you take somebody to this movie, they might break up with you too.
No, because my girlfriend looked at me and said I owe her after we watched this movie. so yeah, it's not a guarantee. I mean, and that's the thing, and I have to say this, like, I hate comparing it to the original. Like, they even said that it's supposed to be a retelling its own thing, but there are things.
We'll talk about lore breaking. Okay, again, guys, I like the Acolyte. Remember that. We want to talk lore breaking. Call the lore police.
Oh yeah, this broke everything.
No. But like, there are things that get so right. Did I click on that or did you click on that?
I clicked on that because he's absolutely right. The original soundtrack was when Nine Inch Nails and Rollins Band, all these other guys were just like. You know, they were all just in the heydays or just starting up their careers. And yeah, you're right, Thronkill. This is like Highlander. You cannot. There's no way you could ever top, you know, a soundtrack like that, like with Highlander and Queen. It's just,
you know how we said, but there are things that they get so right in the first movie. Start with their death, and then tell their story in flashbacks.
And then let us get to the crowing. Really, you know, like
give us
sometime in the next hour.
Exactly. This movie insists upon itself as to borrow a quote from Family Guy from Peter Griffin. The reason he doesn't like the Godfather is because it insists upon itself. This movie insists upon, like, it really does. It's like, you're watching this because it's The Crow and you know what the payoff is. So you're going to sit through 45 minutes of bullshit before you get to see him go to the afterworld and come back and then, and then screw up and then die again and come back as The Crow in the last 15 minutes of this movie. You're going to sit through all the other bullshit before you get to the end. No, it's not worth the ride. It's not good enough. And when we get the payoff, it sucks. Like one looks like one of the things the first movie gets right. They don't explain it full out, but you get it by watching it. When he looks at himself in the mirror, he gets so flashbacked and pained by what happened that night. He has to hide his face by putting the makeup on. That's why he puts the makeup on, is to hide his own face from himself. But see, he cannot live with that pain. He just decided to put black blood under his eyes in this. It makes no sense why he does it, other
because
than
of the tattoo. But you're right. You're right, man. And in the original, when Eric Draven's fucking playing that guitar on top of the roof, and then he fucking starts losing his shit, like, you get it.
Yeah,
I'm not fucking emo, but I get Eric Draven's pain in the first Crow.
Yeah.
The story is told through Sarah's eyes. Their young female friend. They don't have a character like that in this movie, so they're kind of telling the whole story through Eric's eyes. But yet, we don't know anything about Eric by the end of this movie, other than he was in rehab for some reason. He fell in love with essentially a loser. I'm sorry, she was a drugged out loser who got wrapped up into stuff that maybe wasn't her fault, but she never walked away from either.
Like my wife was like, that blonde lady who explained, like, oh, you're in it and it's, you don't think it's anything at first, and then I'm like, oh, so an excuse. She's making excuses.
Wait,
fuck her.
Yeah. Wait, I gotta bring this up again. Kassan, I'll tell you. At the beginning of this, I told you my friend walked out he went with his son. They walked out a half an hour into the movie. Guess what they did when they went home? They did exactly this. They went and they watched the original Crow. And I had that same thought as I walked out of the theater. I'm like, my God, this was bad. I need to cleanse the palate with the original movie to get this out. Now, there's one other thing I want to bring up here because I know we're over. In the original movie, we're going
to go more. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm. Oh fuck! I guess I'll be here all night. Man, you can just
your therapy session
here. I'll just sit here and bitch till midnight.
But Don, here's the thing. Like, so in the original movie, they got killed, but they got killed by a very specific set of people. And that movie, those specific set of people were like, each one of them was memorable. Each one had a very, very, specific personality to themselves and something that was very, that stuck with you. And throughout that movie, you watched as he tracked down each single one of them and gave each one of them a different death and spectacular death. The car going off and then exploding off the pier. Like, it just each one, you watched him get his revenge. This one, I don't remember who was involved with it and all that. He didn't specifically target people. He just bumbled his way through
killing random
whoever's
people,
around him.
random guards. It could be
because that's the thing. The first one is specifically at its core a revenge movie.
Yeah.
So you get 4 specific villains with specific personalities.
And we're with them because we want to see each one of them die because each one of them did a bad thing. Like it's not just the killing, but all these other bad things.
Here's the other thing. Every kill in the original movie, there's some kind of like crow imagery, like either in blood or a fire crow.
Imagery. He uses their own methods. Like when he killed Tintin, he used the knives. Like he burned
or the syringes.
Thunderbird. Right.
Which
he
makes
overdosed Fun Boy.
That's what makes it cool. Him going into an opera house in the last
Wakizashi, by the way, you couldn't even give him a katana.
Yeah.
Wakizashi. Clearly.
And John Wicking his way through everybody. Only letting him tank all the hits.
Undead John Wick,
and
and
I'm sorry, like this is the other thing that bothered me about it. You unload your guns into this guy, and he gets back up. No one said, "Oh fuck this," and walked away. Like they're all still trying.
Right?
No,
they're all exactly. They're all right.
Yeah,
like come on.
You got to think if they were real people, there'd be a few go, "Oh no, screw this, I'm out."
Right.
I'm taking the exit.
explain to me why at the end of it he walks out on stage with both their heads of the two main people. Who knows? Like they don't ever, like you don't know anything about these people he kills. The woman and the old guy holding their hands. And the audience freaks out and runs out, and then he just throws their heads into the audience. What was the point of that? Other than to try to be artistic?
Okay, all right, I'm going to be fair here. That was kind of badass. That's the part of the movie where he like started to be like the Crow that I actually kind of started to enjoy. But at the same time, there's all these fucking shots being fired. No one at the opera gives a fuck until he comes on stage with the head and throws them out. Which that makes no sense.
Why did you do that? Because it was artsy. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
We did like I say we because I watched it with my wife. Actually, but that was kind of cool. But it is a ridiculous scene, very unrealistic. Which I mean, we're talking
by
about
the way,
guys.
I have a question.
A quote from the original, from the creator, James O'Barr, right, on The Crow. Because one of the questions here, Kazan said. So do we blame the comic creator for allowing this to happen? He was a consultant. I think he knew a year ago that the studio was overriding him on too much stuff. He said, the reboot thing has been going on for almost 12 years now with different studios trying to make it. To me, it isn't necessary, he said. The Crow still holds up remarkably well for a $10 million film. It looks astonishing. It seems kind of pointless if you're just going to be repetitious.
Yes, and I think that's the whole thing is I think he signed on because they said this would be different than the original.
Well, it was
different. Here's the thing, and this is an argument I always make, right? When they do these remakes and Kassan is one of the people. I love you, brother, but you are great for pointing this out and the fact that like, well, they're trying to do something different, so get on board, but it's like you're using the property to draw in the fans of the original. People who grew up on this movie, you're hoping will bring their kids to this movie or whatever. Or like, you're not trying to attract a new audience. You're using the original property to attract the old audience in. Then give us the original story, but told a little bit more modern. Like
with a fuckboy with tattoos.
Right. Oh. Like, do not throw away the entire original story and say, screw you if you love the original. Like, we're doing our own thing. Then just make a new thing. Just make a new movie about a guy who comes back from the dead and avenges his loved one. Do not call it The Crow. That's all. Like John said, the Crows have nothing to do with this movie at all other than imagery.
Yeah,
like,
they CGI'd them in. That nobody
they CGI'd
interacts
them
with
in
them,
later on. Like, we don't like. I was waiting for at some point him walking down the street and a crow to land on his shoulder. CGI. That would have been fucking cool. And I've been like, okay, the movie might have been worth it for that shot. They don't even do that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it barely even leads him around. You don't see him watching the crow to know where to go.
Twice they do it, even though they made like a big stink about it. And both times it led him to the bridge. Where
are you sure? I don't remember him actually seeing the
maybe
like
you're
the
right.
scene actually showing him watching the crow. I think he was just looking in a direction. They CGI'd the crow in that direction or something, or like reworked the scene.
It doesn't make sense. Like the crows are completely pointless to this movie. It's not a crow movie at all.
It's the Wookiee defense. Doesn't make sense.
Hold on. James doesn't comment much. We'll take a look at this. In the comics, the Crow is a mantle character. There are like a dozen from the Native American women avenging the unborn child from
reincarnated bikers to a crazy anime
version. Yeah.
Right. So to his point in Bandit to Bandit, oh, I'm sorry, I forget that I can do this. So he's absolutely right. Gen X saw the original one back in the theaters in 1994. This 2024 version wouldn't have been better had they just created a new character, not Eric Draven. This movie is a B- flick. He's absolutely
I'm surprised
correct.
You rated it so high.
Yeah, but he's absolutely correct. If this was an Eric Draven, then I could have been into that. Absolutely. But they did. It's Shelley and it's Eric Draven, and they stripped away everything else that made those characters endearing. This isn't Detroit. This isn't Devil's Night. The aesthetic is just fucked in itself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The city meant something
in America,
in the first one.
England,
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this?
In the
That's
first
another
one,
thing.
the city actually meant something. In this one, it could have been any. It could have been.
It
Gotham
felt like
City.
Chicago. I'm going to say that it felt like Chicago because you had the
Okay.
L, and it just had a Chicago vibe to it. Here's the other thing too, right? Like, great, my mind just went blank.
Kind of like the writers of this movie. Honestly.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh, there's one of the things that made the first movie great, and it's a silly thing, but I thought it works well in the first movie. Is he dies on Halloween or Devil's Night? Actually, it's the night before Halloween.
He comes back a year later.
He comes back a year later, and he's got the makeup on, so they don't know who he is at first. And once they figure out who he is, because that's a big part of the movie too, he kind of wants them to know it's him getting revenge, and it's like, there ain't no coming back. Tintin. I mean, it's the best, one of the best scenes in the movie when he kills Tintin and he's like, nah, it can't be you. There ain't no coming back. There ain't no coming back. And he just keeps saying that.
This is the really real world, man. There ain't no coming back. There ain't no coming back. And he just can't fucking believe it. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on with this dude. But in this movie,
the one guy he killed was like, I killed you, didn't I? It's like, wow, that's a good reaction. That's a human.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me point this out. Special effects, continuity, whatever. He's in the back seat. The guy tries to shoot him. He shoots him first, right? Obviously, he had to shoot him through the seat because the gun wound is in his chest, blown out. There's no hole in the seat in front of him. When they cut back to him, there's no hole in the seat.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he shoot the bullet through the seat then? It's just like, it's a stupid little continuity thing, but it bothered me. It was just like,
well, even outside of continuity, like, remember, like, when the tattoo guy, the guy that did all the tattoos on him and Shelly and shit, got shot in the fucking head, and then 5 minutes later, he's sitting next to him, like, smoking a cigarette or something? Like, there's no big fucking deal. Like, my friend's dead next to me, but we're just gonna chill. Like, what the fuck?
Nothing about that character other than he gives Eric a gun. That's it. And he does it, and he's a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
You don't care about this character. She got shot. Okay, whatever. Yeah, let's just sit next to his dead body and smoke a doobie. Like, okay, whatever.
Just believe me, I'm fine with. But okay, Kassan, what do you mean there? Did they reference that road in this movie, and I not catch it or remember it? Like,
Does Detroit have elevated trains? Because that's obviously another huge imagery in this movie, right?
It doesn't matter. Again, the city meant something. Like, the city had its own flavor and everything in the first movie. In this one, it didn't matter at all. Like,
so let's also then jump ahead to the end, right? Like, so he says, I'll trade my soul to bring Shelly back. Shelly doesn't go to heaven. She comes back to Earth. So she can still screw up again, right? Let's put that out there. That's the first important point. Like, it's better when in the story when they're both dead at the end and he's just saving her, or he's just saving himself to be able to rest. But they don't come and grab the underworld, the hell, whatever you want to call it. They don't come and grab him and pull him down under after.
He's in that purgatory, place.
He's still in purgatory and walks off to set up a possible sequel. I mean, no one wants a sequel to this, but it's just like, seriously, like, that doesn't even work. The end doesn't work. Like, nothing in this movie works. Is it a time jump? Like, now we jumped back 3 days, and that's why she came back to life, because they were at her funeral. They buried her body, but all of a sudden, there they are back to the day they were killed, and now Eric's dead and she's alive.
Super fucking confusing. Like, did she get dumped in the river or no? Oh no, look, they found him on the floor. Like,
wouldn't it have been a better, and like, I'm not trying, like, you could come up with 1,000 ways to save this movie, but would it have been a better ending if the two of them were just in purgatory together? And then left it up as a question mark, like, what's going to happen to them in the future? Her coming back to Earth and him being in purgatory just is like, what are we doing here?
So
it's already there for them, Dave. Wonderful couple gets killed. Dude comes back as the angel of vengeance, so we get to watch him kill all the motherfuckers that killed this couple that we like so much. And he and her are both rewarded at the end by being in heaven together.
Right.
How do you fuck that up?
You make a movie like this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Like I don't know. Like I'm seriously getting the impression like they're like, hey, let's make a movie, but fucking piss all the Crow fans off.
That's exactly what they did.
Is this like a Fantastic Four deal or no? Not, like, is this a movie made? I wish AD was here because he knows this shit. Is this a movie that just got made to keep the license?
That's a good
Comment
question.
down below. Comment down below. If you,
the Bandit says, okay, it's a C+ flick, but I think it's going to be a cult flick.
Listen,
okay.
I cannot stress enough I wanted to like this.
Hold on. Right. Like, because again, we're looking at it through a 1994 Crow eyes. And the movie got panned and it failed miserably. But is this a movie that once it hits streaming will find an audience?
Only when they do, what is it? One of those MST3K tracks for it. Because this deserves that and nothing else. You know.
Okay, I could see this. I can see this. If it goes to streaming, I could see it becoming a cult classic because the younger generation, like, okay, so like I like to play video games for a challenge, right?
Uh-huh.
But this generation is all about self-expression. That's why we have microtransactions for skins and shit like that. This movie having a very heavy tattoo vibe and a very physically fit Bill Skarsgård. We also see a lot of nipples from Shelley. I don't know.
It does nothing. That's for me, that means nothing. That's just.
I understand. I went to see the movie with my wife, so I had a nice time with my wife. She enjoyed the movie. Again, got some snoo afterwards. So generally positive experience. But when it comes to like the Crow universe, this just completely fucking shits on it. And it's so fucking frustrating. There's no reason to do any of that.
I'm done. There's nothing else I want to talk about this movie. I just
I could talk about what I hate about this movie for the next 2 hours, but
I could do that too. But
gentlemen, with that,
yeah.
1 second though, I want to check something. What was the original rated? I'm trying to think. Was it PG-13 or R?
That's a good question.
Because
while you're doing that, I'm going to engage with Bandit the Bandit here and
R, 1994 R.
Yeah, I'm sure it was R. Okay.
And and the only reason I ask is because like I feel like they did their best to make this a hard R, where the original R.
You know what? Positive point. Absolutely. As far as like some gruesome deaths and shit, like we had the katana and it just fucking like. Okay, I'll give it that. There was some cool fucking like deaths in this, like.
But it was over. I thought it was over the top.
Yeah, it did.
I don't disagree per se. Yeah.
They were doing that only because they wanted to make it a hard R.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Bandit the Bandit. I'm gonna rate this after City of Angels, all that shit, because at least City of Angels and the other Crow, I can't remember the fucking name of it. At least they were in continuity with the original movie and didn't fucking break the lore. And again, I'm the guy that sat here and said Acolyte didn't break lore. So, what I'm saying, this fucking breaks lore, man. Like in 10,000 pieces for no fucking reason.
He doesn't have all the powers of the original Crow, which doesn't make sense. And he doesn't get like powered up until he decides to sell his soul, basically, to save.
He's got to like set his bones back and shit before it heals, or shove his fucking. Like the original guy was just like, wow, look at this shit. It's growing right back. Like, oh, it's just give it a different name and okay, we're fine. That's fine.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
We beaten this enough? Because
we have.
Let's go around the room. Let's give our rating 1 out of 10 crows. And your final thoughts. And John, you can go first.
this is one of the very, very few movies I've ever seen where I actually really wanted to walk out. Like I feel like I could have done anything else with the 2 hours that this movie wasted on me. It's not worth anything. Like I don't even bother watching it, even if somebody pays you to. It's even worthless more than that. So
okay then.
Yeah, I don't even want to give this a rating. It's not worth my time, and it's not worth the brain cells that it killed to give it a rating. If anything, just my rating would be caution and avoid at all costs. That's it.
Okay, Don.
Yeah, I mean, I take great offense to this movie. I take great offense that the only connection that it has with the original is the name and its shoehorning of trench coats. You know, like in the original movie, he got his trench coat because one of the dudes he kills wore a trench coat. But again, they just say you literally just put it in this movie. It's just fucking horrible. I wanted to like it. I wanted to come in here and be like the reasonable dude that's just like, no, blah, blah, blah. But I can't, man. You just can't fuck with the lore this much and be this fucking mutated from the original idea and just expect that it's going to be a success when all the dudes like me that love the original Crow movie, and you're just shitting on it. And it's not going to be successful. So don't go see the movie.
And it's not just that it's a bad movie, a bad reboot of The Crow. It's a bad movie, period.
Right. It's not even consistent with its own lore within the movie. Because like you want to talk lore, like okay, if they're trying to establish new lore, they're not even consistent within it.
But the transitions, the cinematography, the sound, everything is horrible in this. The direction.
I'm gonna say this is probably, and it's funny because I haven't even seen the bad movies. Well, I mean, saw part of Madam Web, and I had to stop watching it. In a year with Madam Web, Borderlands, and a couple other movies, this is probably the worst movie of 2024. I don't know if it's the worst movie of all time.
No,
but
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes exists.
The Room exists. I mean,
that's true.
But this movie isn't even so. This movie isn't so bad where like you can turn around and laugh at it. It's just bad. It's gruesome. It's violent for no, overly violent for no reason. You don't need all the blood and gore. I'm sorry, you don't. It's excessive blood. I'm the only one that's going to give it a score. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. Avoid this movie.
I agree. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1. Absolutely.
It's just avoid this movie. It's not worth spending any money on. It's not worth spending any time on.
Wait for the riff tracks. Wait for the MST3K riff tracks. That'll make it worth watching as long as you're listening to the riff track.
So
there's
yeah,
plenty of material for those guys.
That's it. That's all we got on this movie, man. We ran really long complaining this week, guys. So let's wrap this.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm taking this one because I know I wasn't here for the Crow episode. I suggested it from you, and I was thrilled that you guys took it. But it's not quite Star Wars, but it's just a special fucking movie to me.
Yeah,
and
the first movie I went to see in the theater like 3 times. That's how much I love the original movie. So, all right, let's wrap this one up. Let's go around the room. You got any recommendations or what did you learn this week on the podcast? And Don, you can go first.
I really don't have any recommendations, so I'll just be straight up with you right there. It's basically work and Crisis Core for me. So, but what did I learn? Obviously with my love of the Acolyte, you can tell I'm a forgiving person when it comes to content and things that I love. And I really wanted to come in here and subvert all expectations and tell you how much that this was at least an okay movie. but it's real. It really seems. I've learned that whoever made this movie must have got some sort of probe into my head, learned exactly what I liked about The Crow, and said, "Okay, I want to piss this dude off, so let's do the opposite." So I don't know how they did all that, but I've learned that they've obviously went into my brain, discovered exactly how to fuck up The Crow, and done it for whatever reason. I don't know though.
All right, John.
Well, first, I'm going to allow Thrawn Kill's shameless promotion to pick up his friend Rob's new comic book, Spawn Kills Every Spawn, at your local comic shop now. But above me on that, when we were talking about the directors, right? So, again, I'll go with anime to balance this out a bit. Watch the first season. Actually, the second season of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid was good too. I mean, they found a director who could kind of reach the same heights, but watch at least the first season of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, because first it'll make your soul feel better after hearing about The Crow 2024. Second, it's just a really, really good love story and really entertaining story. So that, and Wisteria Wand and Sword was one of my recommendations a couple of weeks ago for this season of anime. It's still killing it. The animation is amazing. The story is damn good. And, that's pretty much for me. As for what I learned, don't let Dave pick the movies anymore, because I never want to waste 2 hours like that again.
I picked this because we talked about it a lot. The thing is, this reboot has been in the works for a long time. There have been so many different actors attached to it. Remember, Jason Momoa was supposed to be the Crow at one point. Like, we've talked about it so much. It's like I felt like we had to go see this movie. I won't make that mistake again. I promise you. Yeah, I learned. I'll be honest with you. Like, I kind of learned that sometimes you can't go home again. Like, I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to like walk in and be like surprised, like Don. I wanted to be like, wow, they did something different and they got it right, and it still felt like the core of the original story. And they went, no, you know what? Let's take the original story and let's get a good crap right on that. And the funny thing is, you can crap on stuff like Logan, and I'll laugh at it, and it's done well because he just uses adamantium skeleton to kill a bunch of TVA agents, and that's good. But you're gonna crap on the original Crow, and it's like, why? Like, you could have learned from it as opposed to like being afraid to copy it. So, yeah. Recommendations. I don't really have any recommendations for this week. We're not seeing anything this week, thank God. So we won't go crazy. But I will recommend, if you've gotten this far on the podcast and you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live here on Sunday nights. If you like what we're doing, please click that like button. It helps with the algorithm and pushes the episode out for more people to see it. And if you are so inclined, go check out our merch store. Link is in the description. We got some great t-shirts over there. More are coming soon, I promise. I'm not just saying that. Yeah. And of course, head on over to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, the podcast itself, comic book reviews, and so much more. I am going to work on getting more comic book reviews out there. I'm going to do them myself. I've got a stack of books that have been sent to me that I need to take a look at. Yeah, and that's about it. That is it, boys and girls. We went long. We promised you these were going to be shorter shows, and Don wouldn't shut up this week. So
it was just that bad movie, and to be fair, I kept adding more to it too.
So on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.